Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hell for Dummies. Today we're going to be covering the spider lair and the bridge. I think it's called the skeleton bridge. I don't really know. Anyway, we're going to remake our level 1 character. We're going to put those same perks on and we're going to give Otto a good luck pet. And we'll be on our way. So we got to spawn to the southeast corner of the map. I kind of like that when I'm a low level. I'm not looking for PvP. I can stay near the edge of the storm circle, just kind of listen for people. So I feel pretty safe just kind of going out looting, making some noise, because I don't have a lot of enemies around me. Probably just one or two, and they're probably just as scared of me as I am of them. So I go ahead and I actually work my way down even further into the corner, because I'm greedy. I came for loot, even though I'm not keeping this character or whatever. I'm just going to play it like I am. And, you know, I'm always looking for those cheeses. I was looking to stand up on this torch. It didn't work. So I break this vase over here. I choose a couple of mobs over it and basically just loot the room. You can go ahead and skip to when I actually enter hell if you don't care about any of this. I'm just showing this for posterity that I went into hell with my level 1 character, and you can too. And there's different cheeses, like, you know, for range characters or melee characters or whatever. If you don't feel like cheesing, go ahead, be legit. Fight enemies legit. Get good. It'll get you good, you know. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just talking about, and these videos are for like consistently, or strats to consistently get down into hell and to loot hell. Just like in the last video, I kind of talked about how we're not super afraid of the storm circle. I was going to rest here, but I thought I heard footsteps. So I opted to do something really kind of funny. I decided to make as much noise as possible here to try to scare the guy off. And then I also trapped this door, even though I didn't hear him after that. And I sit in the dark for a moment and keep listening, and just my luck, a hell portal opens up right in front of me, or a static red. Or not a static red, I think they call that a triple red. So now we can hop down. I'm super greedy, so I'm just going to loot everything I see. And just remember too, all of this damage that we take from the storm is recoverable health, so once we make it in here we can just sit down and rest it all off. Now another really, I would say a pretty important thing to note is when you're sitting here waiting to go into hell, I would just sort my inventory like preemptively, like put all the white stuff on the right and all of the more rare stuff on the left, or whatever works for you, just so when you get in there you don't waste any time doing that. Alright, this is perfect. We got the spider lair. This is one of the easiest spawns. This is actually the easiest spawn in hell, I think, in a lot of people's opinion. Really, there's just a couple of flyers we need to worry about. I thought there was 3. And then there's the nightmare spider pots, which there are also 3 of those. Now, I'm going to let this roll because this is actually hilarious. I let my overconfidence about this room let me underperform, and I get my ass kicked. Enjoy. Alright, so the main strat in this room, actually, is to take out those flyers first. There's like 3 flyers around the room. You just go bait them out one at a time. You go find something to stand on. Anything around the room really works, and you try to take out the flyers. And if you're in a spot of trouble like I am here, where I'm one shot, you can jump over the flyer venom, which is kind of cool. So if you're ever in a pickle, like I was here, go ahead and jump over that flyer venom. And then I kind of almost have all the time in the world. If I wasn't going to loot the other room too, I would just maybe rest all my health back, proceed to loot out the entire room, and then just grab an escape portal if I could. The only thing is there's only, and this is really boggling to me, why there's a lion's head chest in this room when it's so easy to clear. If I had a key, or sometimes you can just get lucky and the lion's head chest is just open, then I would have access to that lion's head back there. I even go back and try it in a second and it doesn't work. So over here you see me, I'm going, this is another safe spot where I just stood on. There's tons of safe spots around this room. I was looking for that last flyer because I thought there was another flyer, but there isn't one. So I proceeded to take out the nightmare pots. The first location is over here on the side of the pillar. It's like in the middle of the room, really hard to miss. The second one is hiding in this back corner. I actually didn't know about this one for a minute, and I kept wondering why there was still spiders. But yep, second one's in that backpack. Now the third one, and I'm conserving all my ammo. The third one is kind of in the middle of the room, like just right next to some vases. It's the other like really obvious one. And if you're ranged, you could just take it out from here. Otherwise, just run over there and bash it. It's not too hard to kite the spiders around the room and just kind of bash the pots, but you have to be really wary to keep moving and not let them trap you, because they'll do this ridiculous thing where they'll trap you on this clipping and you won't be able to move. But after you take out all the pots, you can just go ahead and hop down on something low and just smush them all. So I'm going to do a small amount of looting before I leave the room, just because it helps to show how much loot you can get. And at the end of the video too, the amount of loot that I get is not that much too. If I was just focusing on Lion's main chests and maybe just bouncing between rooms and using the cheese spots to get all the Lion's main chests, you can make it out with 4 or 5 times as much as I make it out with here, you know, on a good run. A couple of other really important notes. I see a lot of people, they'll be at low health after clearing this room and they'll die to wall traps. There are wall traps in the corners of this room all over the place. And there are wall traps on the walls of this room as well, all over the place. So you saw when I was clearing the room, stay away from those wall traps. That's just on a final note. Okay, so for this next room, the bridge, there's basically 2 main cheeses. There's the tower cheese and the pillar cheese. I'll show you the tower cheese first. When you approach from the south or north side of the room, you'll have to take out a couple of archers, and there's an archer tower on the north and the south side of the room. So as a ranged character, you can clear that tower and then start kiting all of the balcony minions up to the tower and taking them out from there. But as a melee character, what you're going to do is avoid these towers entirely. Try to hang out on the balcony as little as possible so that you don't get headshot, because those archer towers are actually really hard to push. But they can't shoot you when you're on the bottom floor or doing the pillar cheese, which I'll showcase in a second. So as a melee, if you use the tower cheese or manage to clear this tower, it's still a little bit sketchy, because as the minions walk up, they can still manage to hit you if you're close enough, especially the spear minion and the axe minion. But if you're careful and you just like kind of step forward and backward and dodge those attacks, you could probably still pull it off. I would still just recommend using the pillar cheese as a melee though. It just gives you more wiggle room. Okay, so something really noteworthy about this room is you can access it from the boss room really easily and run in on that east side. So from any room, if you can manage to make it into the boss room, you can make it here really quickly. It's my favorite room to revive people, because you can run over to this table from anywhere in the room and it's completely safe. You just have to be able to make it there without anything, you know, hitting you. And you can jump up here and nothing can mess with you, and you can revive your fallen comrade. They can revive there and take as much time as they need, and there's even a couple of chests right here that they can loot instantly. So that's very nice. So for the melee strat, the melee cheese, and you can cheese every enemy in this room besides the archers on the towers with this. So even if you don't clear the archers at the top, you can use this cheese to clear all the walkway minions, just by kind of kiting them over one by one and being careful not to get shot. On a note, the archer minions in the tower can hit you if you're too high up on the pillar, but you can find a sweet spot where their bullets will hit the clipping so that you can kill the walkway minions. It's kind of sketchy, but that is the melee strat. From here, you can hit all of the floor minions with your melee weapon just by kind of coming down just enough on the pillar where they can't hit you, and you can hit them. And on the upside, you've got this clipping in your way, or these cool little statues in your way. So it takes getting like the right angle to be able to poke them. You can see I try exploiting my third attack to get the poke off quite a bit here, and then I realized that my first attack, after a while I realized my first attack is actually a downward diagonal attack, and I can just hit him with the first one. And yeah, depending on your weapon, just experiment, figure out what works, and that's the key. Just be safe, be quick, and figure out what works. That was an electric shield type as well, so just saying it again, if you hit the electric shield on those, it reflects the damage. Okay, a couple final notes about this room. So you saw the 2 chests next to the resurrection table. There's 2 mirroring it on the opposite side. There's 2 on the upper walkways next to each sniper tower, and there's 2 in each of the rooms that I just shot at. So that makes for a total of 16 chests in this room that you can loot and make it out like a bandit. Now, granted, they are all smaller chests, but you can get a lot of 1x1s. So we made it away clean with a good 500 adventure points. That's good. And yeah, normally I would take some of this gear that looks pretty good and I'd hit the trade hall, but you have to be level 15, I guess. You can move some of these pieces that, you know, you sell at the tailor for 30, 40 gold for like 100 gold in the trade hall. But we're just going to trade those out, get a nice stash for our level 4 character now, or however big she is. Oh, I'm also showing you why you sort that white loot to the left. So you'll see when I sell these, the non-white loot, it fills up more gold in my inventory than the loot took up. It spills over into my stash even. But when you sell the white loot, it's a little different. The white loot won't even fill up the inventory space that it consumed. So right here, there's 5 pieces, 5 squares of white loot, and that only sells for 31 gold. So it just helps to have all your white loot to the right, so that when every second counts and you have to drop loot to get better loot, it's easy. Another thing too, when you're just starting off your character, if you're ever low on loot, I like hopping into HR Hell. You just go do a couple runs, you don't have anything on the line because you're just using your starting character, and you can start just putting together your little sets of gear. You'll run into people all the time that want you to wear gear. I personally don't really play like depending on my gear, because I figure just skill is better than having to rely on your gear. But when you get into competitive play, obviously you need those stat increases. So I just like putting together little sets of gear that I can take in if I happen to lose my gear while I'm playing with some competitive peeps. Alright, well, it's been a pleasure, guys, and I hope to see you next time on the next episode. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe down below if you learned anything or you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a lovely day.